Hey, what's going on? It's your boy, Frank Hamilton, online fitness coach. You know, the man with the motto be grinding or be nothing. Welcome to the show.
Yo, what's going on? It is me. I am back, Coach Frank. It seems like I only do shows or do an episode when I come back from somewhere. I need to be more. I always say I need to be more consistent, but I know. I'll work on it. But where am I coming back from this time? I went home. I went to Florida. If you know me, I am from a little city called Oviedo, Florida. It is in Central Florida, and what I always tell people is it is the if you've ever heard of UCF, its campus limits touch Oviedo city limits. So east side of Orlando, going down Colonial, make a left on Alafaya, about 10, 15 miles, you're in Oviedo. So that's where I'm from. That's where I went. And if you know me, I'll always represent. I've been in Arizona now for 16 years, and people will still say, why don't you just say you're from Orlando since I'm from Central Florida? And because I'm not from Orlando. I am straight out of Oviedo. And that's just the way it is. I love my city. I love where I'm from. And so I got to go home, see my family. Saw my mom. I didn't see my pops. My father's a truck driver. He was working, so he was out. I did see my mom. I saw my brother and my sister, hung out with my sister and her husband. So I hung out with my brother-in-law a little bit. But overall, it was fun. I hung out with my cousin. But whenever I go home, I always hang out with my cousin. He's like the most consistent person, really, that I interact with. Talk to him, I don't know, a couple times a week, maybe. If it's just through like, even through like, memes and stuff on Instagram or just messages on social, he's probably the most consistent family member that I talk to. So when I go home, I do always catch up with him and his family. His son plays AAU basketball, so part of the motivation going home this time was to watch his son play. His son, coincidentally, is actually now being coached by one of my cousins from my mom's side of the family. My cousin's whose son plays is on my dad's side, so it's weird, and it was and certainly an organic situation. My cousin was looking for a coach for his son, and he'll always ask me about things that are going on. And he sent me the profile of the coach he wanted his son to go to, asking if I knew her, and I was like, "Yeah, cuz that's my cousin." So like, "Yeah, you're good." So it was real cool because I hadn't seen her, man. I think she and I were talking. I think I hadn't seen her since I had my hoop dreams about going to play ball years and years ago. So maybe almost, I've been in Arizona 16. I know I haven't seen her then. So maybe 40, I don't know. Either way, it'd been a long time since I'd seen her. So it was great to see her catch up. I've seen AAU basketball, I guess, on TV and heard, NBA players talk about it and things like that. But man, that thing was bananas. It was at the Orange County Convention Center. Last time I was there was when I was doing my last men's physique show back home. So, I mean, it was cool to be in that environment. But it was cool overall. I had a great time. Always love going home. Home is where the heart is what they say. But I love it. It's dope. But I was only there for a very short time. So next time I definitely have to get more time in, of course. Okay, but today's episode, we are going to talk about discipline. I know. Let's see. Let's title it because that just sounded bad. Let's say discipline. It ain't sexy, but it'll save your life. That was good, right? You like that? Okay. All right. So you know, I don't know when it was, but a couple years ago, on social or whatever in the fitness world, they got cool to say like motivation isn't real. Motivation isn't real, and I'm not gonna. I'll be honest with you. I took offense to that, but only because my belief when you're starting out your fitness journey or basically anything when it's an endeavor and you have a goal at the end is that you have to have an honest motivation. So when I train my clients, it's always behind an honest motivation, something that's really going to push you, drive you, and it's going to keep pushing you forward. So I never, I took offense to when people say motivation isn't real, because I disagree. I believe motivation is real. I believe, motivation is, synonymous with the reason, and your why. It's, because you have to, that's your motivation. When people say find your why, but then say there's no such thing as motivation, like, all right, whatever. But it's all the same thing. Like, I remember once asking a client, um, why did she want to start weight training? And she said she wanted to be healthy. And I was like, oh, all right, cool. Just watch what you eat, walk around your neighborhood a few times, and you'll be healthy. And then, there was like a slight pause, and she was just like, no. And I was like, well, let me ask. Did one day, you got a shower, you're in the bathroom, the steam clears, and you saw a version of yourself that you didn't want to see anymore? And she was like, yeah, that was it. And I was like, yeah. So as we're training and as we're going down, and you're on this journey of yours now, whenever you feel like you want to give up, or it feels too hard and you can't go on, remember, if you quit or give up, you are going to give into that version of yourself that you never wanted to be anymore. That is your honest motivation. And that propelled her. She definitely became one of my best clients. There was no exercise that I could throw at. Excuse me. Like I was saying, she did become one of my best clients, because there was no exercise that I could not throw at her. She would work no matter what. And her sessions would be maybe 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. I think it was very early in the morning. And she came to work every single time. And, and her thing was always, I'm going to beat the old me. And that's what I tell people, as long as you have an honest motivation towards anything you want to do, you're going to complete it. All the way down to the most basic of things, right? If you find, let's say, a pair of, no, let's make it key. That's too minimal. Let's say a vacation that you really want to go on. You'll save. You'll get a travel agent. You'll research destinations. You may buy new luggage. You may buy a new clothes for this. You may invite certain people. All types of things that go into all of that, and that's all because you want to go on that vacation, right? So when it becomes things that you want to do, you'll see the steps you'll take to make sure that you're able to do it. It's the exact same thing on your fitness journey. If you want to change who you were, and it's through strength training, then, and it's through fitness, then you're gonna have to watch what you eat. You're gonna have to train. You're gonna have to do cardio. You're gonna have to get rest. These are all the things. These are researching that vacation. These are buying luggage for that vacation. All these things are the exact same. I remember, I'm I guess retired now, men's physique pro with IFBB, and I have friends that have played in the NFL, friends that have played in the NBA, things like that, and they would sometimes see me going through a prep, for bodybuilding, and you start cutting calories and things like that, and they would tell me, man, Frank, that's hard. Boy, I could never do that. And I'm like, and my football player friends are like, bro, you play outside with like 30 pounds of equipment on, like running into people, and you think it's hard for me because I cut my calories down a little bit? But it just all boils down to whatever your journey is or whatever you want to do, your steps are just going to be that. You're going to do that. And it's not hard to do. It's just becomes what you do. And so, and that's just, the same thing, it's like my friends that play sports, they did their training for their sports. I did mine. In school, if you're wanting to go into medicine, law, whatever, you're going to have to take the steps in that. If you're at work, if you're wanting a promotion and there are certain qualifications. You're going to have to take the steps in that, but it's all behind what you want. Once you find what you want and then you're motivated to achieve that, that's just the way it goes. So I took serious offense to motivation not being real, and I believe motivation is real because I also believe motivation drives your discipline. As long as you're motivated, then you're going to put your goal into this box of this. These are the things that are allowed for me to hit this journey. Like, I remember when I was like training to get my pro card as an amateur men's physique athlete. Initially I would still go out with friends and I would still do things that would affect my training. But once I locked in and I was like, this, it's all or nothing. This is what I want. I really want this. It was just certain things I stopped doing. Like I remember, like the last year leading up into the prep of the last show as an amateur to get my pro card. I was doing 3 hours of cardio a day, and afterwards, I would tell people that, and they asked, well, do you think that was too much? And I was like, I got my pro card. Like, how'd it feel? Like, I don't know what it felt like. It just felt like what I had to do, because in my head it was, I'm going to do this, and that's it. So it was what I wanted to do. I was motivated. My motivated locked in my discipline, and at the end of the day, I achieved my goal. So, do I think I'm special because of it? No. That's the reason I did it, to show people that anything you want to do, you can also do, because why not? Right? So when you're on your fitness journey, the first thing that happens is you have the motivation. People are super gung ho. Usually at the beginning of the year or leading into the summer for bikini season, beach season, things like that. It's people are locked in and they're really going to focus and they're really going to do it, right? And they go straight out the bat. Like the number of times I've heard someone say, like, yeah, Frank, this is my time. I cleaned out my refrigerator. I threw away all my junk food, and all I have now is like chicken and broccoli and brown rice and oatmeal and egg whites. And that's all I'm going to eat. And I'm going to work out 5 days a week. And it's like, all right, all right, all right. Step back. What is the goal initially, right? Let's say, and we'll just make it very gender neutral. Let's just say the initial goal is to lose weight, right? Ask yourself, when was the last time you stuck to a fitness plan that allowed you to do that? And if you say, I lost 5 pounds doing this one thing, all right, well, how long did it stay off? Right? Oh, about a month or two. Okay, so right now, what you want to do, then your goal now is to lose 5 pounds, because you've done that. And now you want to find a way to keep the 5 pounds off, and then try to lose like another pound, and then like a 2 pounds and three, and build up on the things that you haven't been able to do yet, instead of trying to go all the way out on something that you want it, but you're not exactly sure how to get there yet. Overcome the things that have already been hurdles and roadblocks, and then go around those, go through those, and then get to the goal at the end. All right, so you'll find those people that, and especially with life, that they start off really, really, really strong, and then when life gets busy, now it's like, well, man, I was going every day, and now I had this meeting, or I had to go out of town for this, so all right, now I got to stop. Now I can't, and then it's like they'll stop completely. Then I'll see them, and like, what happened? Like, oh man, life happened, this and this, and it's like, now I tell people, understand that when you start your journey, right? If you haven't been disciplined to it, one of the best things to do is to set a log of where you currently are. Progress pictures, your starting weight. And make a program, or hire a coach to help you out with that, to where you have a schedule your workouts around a certain time frame. If you get to a day where you're not able to get that workout in or whatever, do something else that coincides with you still staying on your fitness journey. If you're still at work and you can't make it to the gym, Go to the bathroom, do standing crunches. You can go to the bathroom and do incline push-ups. You can go to the bathroom, do 10 body weight squats. Just something, because what what the action does is mentally you don't lose focus of this is what I do. So it doesn't have to be like, man, I got to go to the gym and I got to go deadlift and this and that. It's like, no, mentally, I got to understand that during the days of the week, my body stays active. And so you just do something and just schedule that time and just make sure you get it done, right? And then with because what happens with that all or nothing thing is people get addicted to it. And then once they get addicted to it, they don't know how to bring themselves back into like a regular world. To whereas, oh man, now that I'm doing this, now I can't now I can't complete my goal because Tuesday I was off or whatever. That's it doesn't work that way. Okay, it's as long as you have an honest motivation. All right, I'll tell this story. Right, I had a lot of encounters at LA Fitness when I was a trainer there, and even moving forward, just being a member there. I remember when I worked there years and years ago. There was this kid that used to come in. Well, there's this guy that used to come in and fit, super fit, stocky. A lot. Very very good muscle frame. He used to come in every day and like play basketball for about an hour. Like if it was middle of the day. So if they were running teams, he'd play teams. If it was 21, 21. If not, he'd shoot around for about 45 minutes or an hour every day. Then he'd go lift. And then he'd lift for about an hour, then do cardio. And then, I mean, super nice guy, super nice guy. Fast forward, things happen. I don't work at LA Fitness anymore, but every once in a while I'll come back to work out there. One day I'm working out, and I'm going up to this cable, and then there was a guy next to me, uh, and I was just asking him, "Yo, are you using this? Do you mind?" And he was like, "No, you're fine." And I looked down, I looked at the guy, and I looked down because he was in a wheelchair, and I looked at him, and he looked up. It was the same kid or the same guy from years ago, and I was like, "Yo, what happened?" He's like, "Hey, Frank, what's up, man?" I was like, "Hey, man, no disrespect, but what happened?" He was like, it's like, man, I don't know. It was like, he was like, he said one night he was in bed, and then just said like his legs started burning, and he like got up to go to the bathroom, and he said he fell on the floor, and I hope I'm remembering the story right. And he said he fell on the floor because he couldn't walk because his legs wouldn't work. And when that happened, he like called out for help, for someone to come help him out. And he goes to the doctor. They can't figure out what the situation is. It's some nerve thing, neurological thing. He doesn't know. At the time I'd met him, they hadn't found out yet. But he was in the gym working out. He was telling me he was like initially paralyzed from the neck down. And so, I'm talking to him, and I'm like, "Yo, so how are you? How'd you get here? Like, what happened here?" And he was like, "Man," he was like, "Yo, I was in the hospital, and I was laid up in this bed, and I couldn't move." And he said, like one day a fly got in the room, and it landed on his forehead. And he said he's never wanted anything more in life than to be able to swat that fly off his forehead. And he said the determination from that not only started assisting with him gaining mobility in his fingers and stuff like that, and his limbs, and being able to move around. Not full strength yet, but being able to move around. And then he was like, Frank, I was a boxer, so I know like different techniques to make the hands stronger. So I started in there, like putting my hands in rice, like opening and closing, making fists. And he's like, and just over time, I just kept going, I just kept going, and I kept going, and here I am, and I just keep going. And I was like, damn, bro. I'm man, I'm so sorry. This and that. He's like, hey man, don't be sorry. He was like, I want to make sure I get this right, and I'm gonna close out on this. He said, life is just like that sometimes. Yo, there's nothing wrong with motivation It's going to strive, it's going to push your discipline. It's going to drive your discipline, right? And that discipline is going to help you achieve the goals that you set for yourself. I promise you. All right, so that is this episode. I hope it resonates with you. If you know someone needing assistance with their motivation, if you need help with your motivation, if you're looking for a coach to help you push you to the next level or just get you started on your goal, send me a message. I like Instagram, frankly fit _ fat loss expert. And if you don't know, now you do. The motto is be grinding or be nothing. Peace.